it's Monday, May 4th, and start of a new week. This week, I'll be traveling from Aiken, Virginia, which is where the Alpaca Hostel farm is located.
I think that goes. Right behind you is my moon pie. Cut her neck. She's so soft.
Oh yeah? So I'm in here with the girls.
This one right here you want to pet. Just sure enough.
Now we figured out where the food is.
Yeah, I'll put some of this other one so they can spread out a little bit.
There you go. Is that good stuff? That's good stuff. That is really good stuff.
Here, you want some more? What do you eat that?
There you go.
Go over there.
Minnie, here you go. There you go. All right, that's about it. And my destination is Damascus, Virginia, AT. It also means that I've gotten to the end of Virginia, which Virginia is 500 miles plus. Shortly after I leave Damascus, I'll cross into Tennessee and into a new state, finally. The other big thing that it means is that I'll have gone over 500 miles. And that means that the hikers going north, the northbounders, while I am a southbounder, will also be around 500 miles. So I'm going to take a great deal more interest in the northbounders that I pass, because when I flip back up to Harper's Ferry, it's very logical that these folks I meet this week and possibly next week will be the same folks that I have the opportunity to hike with once I flip back to Harper's Ferry. So I've kept that in mind as well. There's another unique feature today. This is the first time I've done it, but some of the more experienced hikers have preached it to me to take the opportunities when they exist. Today I am doing a slack pack. A slack pack simply means that I'm not carrying my full pack because I got taken to a drop-off point. I'm hiking back to the Alpaca farm, which is 11-12 miles today, and the only thing I'm carrying is Ken's day pack. So I've got the necessities in here, you know, toilet paper, a trowel, water, snacks. I brought the rain jacket just because it's kind of windy, but it's a great way to get miles in without having to carry the full pack. But last night at dinner, Ken and Cindy and the other three northbounders sitting at the table having burgers, macaroni, baked beans, and maybe a beer or two. We started talking about each of us what we had coming up, and Ken and Cindy were kind enough to offer to say, listen, we'll just run you up there and then you can hike back to the Alpaca farm, and then tomorrow morning they'll take me back. Back to the same spot with my full pack, and I'll simply head south from that point. And then when I saw that most of my hike today going north to the Alpaca farm was downhill, well, that kind of sealed the deal. So anyway, doing a slack pack today, and man, I tell you, it's a lot easier when you're not hauling 35 pounds on your back. See you, folks. May 7th, I'm taking a bridge across Conference Creek. How's that for good flow? I ran into one northbounder this morning that came this way. He confirmed it. Otherwise, I would have had like a 4.5 mile detour. One advantage of being a southbounder, you get to talk to a lot of folks that have been ahead of you. is the type of flow you get after a rain. Fortunately, this crossing has a bridge. There we go. So it's May 8th, and I wanted to show you, I've hit the, I did a climb this morning. I got up here to what, would be called the first bald. And the next 2 days are going to be special. I've already heard the wild ponies, so I show you this because if it had been a nice day, this would have been a really pretty walk across the balds. But as such, it's not a pretty day. So 3.5 miles to get to the shelter. I'll get some water and I change into dry clothes. You can't control the weather, folks. May 9th, 3 o'clock. Something just hit me in the head. That's the knob I came through. That's the hill I just climbed. I tell you, if it wasn't for the wind and the cold temperatures, this would really be some kind of day. But we have wind and we have cold temperatures. So somebody please call Mother Nature for me. Tell her it is almost the middle of May. Thank you. Well, good morning. It's May 10th. And I show you this morning because based upon what I'm going to show you in a little bit, I wanted you to know that not every day out here in the AT is pure HELL. So the last 48 hours have really been somewhat remarkable. I headed to the Grayson Highlands and up to Mount Rogers 2 days ago. So I spent the night at a shelter close to Mount Rogers, and there's a loft. So a lot of what you see is just a single story. This is typical, okay? But this one had a loft upstairs, so a little bit more involved. And there was 3 of us up there. And there's 2 windows, plexiglass, at each end of the loft. And we're up there, and it's below freezing. I think it was about 28 is what Turkey said. And one of the windows blew open. And I'm telling you, that wind was howling like you wouldn't believe. It was already blowing snow through the eaves. So I got up, and I have been carrying duct tape on my trekking poles since Harper's Ferry when I left. So that duct tape finally came in handy like you would not believe. So between what Turkey, what she was able to give me as far as tape, and the duct tape I had on my poles, I was able to reseal that window back up. It's about a 2x4 window. So I was able to seal it back up and at least shut it, and it kept shut even with the high winds. If we were not able to keep that window shut, I don't know what type of night it would have been, because it was cold and freezing like you wouldn't believe to start with. I will say thank you to my North Virginia Supply Depot team. The sleeping bag liner earned its money 10x 2 nights ago. Without that liner, I'm not sure what type of shape I would have been in. But we froze like nobody's business. You get up, the clothes are frozen that were wet. The water bottles, of course, were frozen. We had some unexpected guests for breakfast. This is what we woke up to. Winter Wonderland. Ponies looking for food. Can't blame them. Oh boy, what a mess this is going to be today. Alright guys. And I hiked out of there in the snow and the ice. The snow's not bad, but the ice is very problematic. But I got out of there yesterday. Alright, we're leaving Thomas Knob. I know it looks pretty, but I tell you what, it is frickin' cold. Got to 28 last night. Snow came in the shelter. Boots are frozen, everything's frozen. So I gotta get moving. Gotta be very careful. It's gonna be a lot of ice. I gotta go down the backside of the highest point in Virginia, Mount Rogers. Here we go, folks. Got down lower in elevation. Thank God the sun came out. So the Grayson Highlands for me was not the best experience. You hope to go across all those balds and see the wild ponies, etc., etc. And it was just a miserable, miserable day that it was, both going up, and then it was pretty coming down with the snow. Somehow, a snow event on Mount Rogers, there was about 10 different day hikers coming up as I was coming down, because apparently it's a big deal to have snow on May 9th. Who would have thought? And I'm headed into Damascus, which is good because I'm out of peanut butter. I'm almost out of peanut butter. And I'm almost out of toilet paper. So needless to say, a resupply is mandatory at this point. One other thing happened yesterday which I got mixed feelings about. He says, "Center field, is that you?" Well, there's only two people that know me out here on the trail. One is Bern and the other is Terrence. Those are the two guys I hiked with in the Shenandoahs, if you can recall from an earlier version of a video. And I said, "Bern, is that you? You're going the wrong direction. He's supposed to be hiking south, like me." Well, he's hiking north. He's going back to Marion, and Bern's getting off the trail. Bern also told me that Terrence is getting off the trail, or he has gotten off the trail. So mixed feelings, because they're the only two guys I've hiked with out here, and now they're both gone. I always had the idea I might be able to catch them. There were 2 to 3 days ahead of me everywhere I went. So in these shelters, these notebooks, they call them log books, but hikers go in there and they write their name and their date and something about the mice of the day or the hike or whatever's on their mind. But you get an idea of who's in front of you by how far. And so I always had the hope of catching them and being able to hike with them again. So that's it for the morning report. Mixed bag today, folks. Take care. I'll see you in Damascus. It's a Laurel Creek Bridge. This is what we call one heck of an AT crossing bridge. Look at that, folks. The definition of too slow. Well, folks, we just hit the outskirts of Damascus, Virginia. There's not much here, and there's not much that's open. But the good news is some places are still open, and that is one of them. Here we go.